In high school, we played a game. Many years later, we got back together to play one more. Little did we know, this time, the game was real. Join me, Aram Vartian, on Start Playing Games for a brand new type of fantasy role-playing. In Die RPG, you play a group of real-world, deeply flawed adults who are transported into a fantasy realm via a predatory, sinister role-playing game. The game transforms your characters into paragons and rewards them with strange and frightening powers. In Die RPG, you are confronted with your truest desires and deepest fears. And only you can decide when the game is over. Check out all of my available Start Playing Games campaigns at aram.gay. My name is Aram, and my pronouns are he, him. I'm the writer and producer of the Dungeons & Dragons podcast, God's Fall.
My name's Dylan. My pronouns are he, him, and I'm a physicist from Canada.
Welcome to Kill Every Monster. This week on Kill Every Monster, we are closing the Monster Manual and opening up the Pokédex to feature Gengar.
The Pokédex describes Gengar as mean-spirited creatures that enjoy tormenting people, hurting them, and overtaking them. They're most active during full moons, creeping out in the dead of night and disguising themselves as shadows.
We are joined by Miki. Miki Lugjodovic, also known online as Xwater, is a Nintendo-focused content creator in the gaming space. As a top player of video games made for children, he boasts some seriously impressive gaming achievements. Check him out on Twitch, YouTube, or any other main social media under Xwater.
Mick, the stream has been watching you play Pokemon for what, about 6 hours now today alone?
Yeah, about there.
So you know your stuff basically inside and out. I am an old man who started playing Pokemon when I was like, 7 or 8 is when it came out?
If Dylan's old, I'm just a corpse over here, but yes.
Aram, provide the people some context for your expertise.
Okay, well, I am aware of all the Pokemon, first of all.
Yeah, sure. Name several, please.
Lightning Dude, Pikachu. Angry String, Gay Horse, Rock with Fists, Tree Hot Dog, Just a Bird, lots of Just a Birds. I know all of them.
I do have to give credit. Every edition has Just a Bird. That is fair.
They do. Like, that's a pigeon.
Aram is going to be our RPG ringer, but he is not going to help on the Pokemon stuff.
I did research Gengar a little. I did some of my work here.
You claimed he was a shadow type.
I assumed that was a thing.
That isn't. Dark is a type, and Gengar is not.
I think the Pokédex maybe calls him like the shadow Pokemon. So credit where credit's due. You know, they use the terminology, but it's just it's like a little mix up there.
This is a nice little lead in because we usually do 3 questions over the course of the podcast. So, Mick, question number 1. What is Gengar?
Gengar is the final evolution in the Ghastly line of Pokemon. It is one of the more famous and beloved of all of the Pokemon. The Generation 1 Pokemon all kind of are solidified in that Hall of Fame of, the most nostalgia is drawn from them because they were the ones that were there first. And the Gengar was one of the harder ones to get because when you're a child, you're playing Pokemon. It was way back when you had to have your mom buy you a link cable for your Game Boy so that you could trade. And Mom didn't fall for that. She's like, why do you need a cable to play your game?
When we were kids, we had to make friends in person.
It was ridiculous.
We had to buy extra accessories and then be within 5 or 6 feet of another human to trade. None of this internet garbage.
It was uncommon to find a kid with a link cable, too. I know getting a Gengar was not easy for me because that's how you get it in the game. You trade the Haunter to someone else, and then it evolves into a Gengar. And fun fact, there's actually in the second generation games, there's someone in the towns that's just like, hey, I got a Haunter. Give me just a bird and I'll give it to you. And so it trades in game. So you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna get a Gengar.
Finally.
And all it costed me was a bird. And then you trade it over. And so the second generation introduced the concept of Pokemon holding items. And one of the items causes that Pokemon to never evolve. And it's holding that item.
The meanest thing you could do to someone.
Which is kind of on brand with like the feel of Gengar, right? Like just a little bit of like devious trickery there.
Yeah.
From what I've read, he enjoys basically causing what he calls pranks, although these pranks are very often lethal, it would seem to imply, because he wants to kill people so they will be spirits who will play with him. Is that right?
More or less, I think so. I'm going to be honest, as far as like the in-depth lore of Gengar goes, you know, I'm sitting there and I'm playing the games and I'm like, yeah, it's really good at beating up other ghosts and maybe grass type Pokemon. The in-depth lore, I'm not super duper proficient on, but we got the backlog, you know, research. Dylan did his due diligence, of course.
It's one of the things that I really appreciate about Scarlet and Violet is now all of the confirmation text is in a little bubble. So when the Pokemon you catch something new and the Pokédex entry pops up, it doesn't go away. You click through over on the side, which means you actually have a chance to read it. And every Pokédex entry is horrifying.
Yeah, all of them.
We started off real simple, you know, red and blue. Under a full moon, this Pokemon likes to mimic the shadows of people and laugh at their fright. Okay, a spooky ghost, that's fine. To steal the life of the target, it slips into the prey's shadow and silently waits for an opportunity. Ruby and Sapphire, sometimes on a dark night, the shadow thrown by a streetlight will suddenly and startlingly overtake you. It is actually a Gengar running past you, pretending to be your shadow. And they just get worse and worse. I don't know what's coming after Scarlet and Violet, but I fully expect the Pokédex entry to be something like, Gengar waits in alleyways. He'll knife you.
I have this theory that, you know how in the start of the original Pokemon games, the professor gives you the Pokédex, right? And obviously it's an empty encyclopedia of Pokemon that he's tasked you, a 10-year-old, with filling. The reason all of these entries make such little sense and are so absurd, like the slug Pokemon, it's the Pokédex says that it's hotter than the surface of the sun. I don't think that makes a lot of sense. That to me sounds like a 10-year-old was like, wow, that slug is super hot. It's probably 10 billion degrees.
That does make a lot of sense, actually.
I think all of the information is logged, by 10-year-olds.
Just written by 10-year-olds who are exaggerating or have possibly faced their first fire, a slug, and therefore, you know, it seems very warm to them.
Yes.
Pikachu's cheeks can generate 10,000 volts of electricity, except that's not really how volts work, because, like, relative to what?
Right, they're just filling in words.
It's all nonsense, but then every once in a while you see one of these things, like the Gigantamax Gengar entry.
Oh, God, yeah.
Rumor has it that its gigantic mouth leads not into its body, filled with cursed energy, but directly to the afterlife.
Wow.
Gengar's mouth,
Just a portal to hell.
goes to hell. This is one of those things where when we were talking about this, we were trying to think, like, one, what Pokemon, like, obviously is going to get attention. What do people want to see? But then it was, what can you use to be a monster? Let's say you take a Pokemon out of its game and you're just like, no, today we're playing D&D and that thing, that's the bad guy. Gengar is perfect.
He seems like an antagonist, like the monster's built to go after people and annoy / possibly kill them.
I love the energy of it being not necessarily like intentionally lethal, but like it's like that friend who's doing a prank and doesn't realize they're going too far. And so they're having the best time. But it's like, maybe you shouldn't be throwing, you know, broken shards of glass at us. That's a little far.
An exploding gas tank is a prank.
Yeah, exactly.
And that, I think, is coming out of a reference to like the original anime, you know, the first time they meet the ghost Pokemon, you know, they're terrifying everyone. It turns out they have a little fucking circus up in their attic and they just want people to come and play, and it's very sweet,
Yeah.
warm-hearted. And then literally every entry in the Pokédex is like, no, it's hiding in your shadows. It's fucking waiting for you. I swear to God, do not go outside at night.
Yeah, you feel yourself getting cold, it's sucking the life out of you.
I did see a bit about the cartoon where apparently, no, it's difficult because like they take individual Gengar and give them like, this is this one's a story. It doesn't apply to all of them, but this one Gengar had this one story where it was apparently just like abandoned by its trainer in a house and sat there for decades, maybe just sad and alone because it was waiting for its trainer to come home. So do they have like different personalities, or are they all kind of dicks?
This is the weirdest part of Pokemon, is it is never 100% clear, because sometimes, like, you talk about just a bird, right? There's also a Pokemon that's just a cow, and we milk them.
Sure.
I assume that if you eat a burger, it's a mill tank that you murdered.
I think so. I think there's like Pokedex logs of other Pokemon that are like, they love eating mill tanks.
If you're going through Scarlet and Violet, there's a handful where they're just building out an ecosystem. It's like, yeah, you know, this Pokemon runs around. It's got good at hiding because its natural predator is kill it without discrimination.
They're all sentient, right?
Most of them, probably. Yeah.
Even the cows?
Especially the cows. Pokemon is a terrifying world.
Like, I feel like maybe you could make an argument for like the magnet not being, you know, but even that one seems to have agency.
Yeah, there's a couple of them that might be robots.
Actually, there are robots now. As of the newest games, the gimmick, of course, is that one version is the ancient version and one is the future version. And so there's a couple version exclusives. And on the future version side, it's like, hey, it's that Pokemon I like, but it's a robot.
Are there animals? Like, are there also cows?
No.
And okay, so there's just Pokemon.
Every animal is Pokemon, yeah.
Which makes the Pokedex completely incoherent when it's like, Pidgey, the pigeon Pokemon. What's a pigeon? Don't know.
Right, that does make it hard.
Never seen one of those.
They're just referencing animals that do not exist.
Yeah.
All right, so all the food has to come from sentient creatures, just so I'm clear. Mm-hmm. That isn't like, you know, corn.
Well, they do have vegetables as well. Like you can find I know you can find berries.
So there's normal flora.
Yes.
But all the fauna is sentient.
And also some of the flora is fauna.
Some of the flowers are also sentient. Right.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And sometimes the fauna is rocks. That is also fauna.
Right.
There are many questions to be asked about Pokemon, but let's focus in on Gengar.
Fair enough.
Knowing what we know about it, how do you do a story? How would you run a game where Gengar is the problem? I'm going to start talking on this one because I think Gengar is basically better than any actual D&D ghost.
Okay.
Okay, strong praise.
Because anything in D&D is going to pull off of folklore and just kind of generalize a little bit. They want to make it very, very applicable. So a lot of your ghosts are like, died horribly, was murdered, out for revenge. And you see that over and over again. Or it's like, this person was risen by a necromancer's curse, so now they're a ghost and they'll fight you. There is never any motivation for undead. This idea of having just kind of a jackass trickster character.
He's just kind of a dick.
I love that about him.
The idea of like wild Gengar roaming around the city, just following people, spooking them because it's funny. It creates an environment where they are pests sometimes.
Just enough of a dick that neither heaven or hell wanted them. No, they're just wandering around, bothering people.
And at the same time, it's sitting there going like, these things are powerful enough that a small child who is trapped in a ball might make it fight a real dragon. Has anyone played Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Rescue Team Red and remembers the Gengar lore? I don't know anything about those games, but now I'm just checking to see if I have anything about that.
I did play that game as a child, but I do not remember the Gengar lore. Those games are interesting where you are it's like, what's that genre? I think it's called Isekai, the like anime genre where you're transported into another world. You do a personality test at the beginning of these games, and you, based on your assessment, you are assigned one of like 20 different Pokemon, and then you become friends with all these Pokemon. You explore caves with them, help them solve their problems, and eventually try to make it back to your own world, all that stuff.
Oh, I do like that. I like the idea of helping the Pokemon more than just putting them in balls and throwing them at each other.
Yeah, it's cool because they don't just go like, "Hey, Pikachu, Pikachu." They talk. You actually have dialogue with them.
Now that I can understand your language, I realize you have a deep and involved personal life.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to get the next game and put you in a ball so that I can use Mew in my official dogfighting arena.
Also, I really like burgers still. I don't know what to tell you, man. Sorry, Max.
The thing that was really cool about the Gengar lore that we did look through was the bits and pieces that kind of alluded to its motivations for when it does go that full length for, killing enemies, killing people, whatever, because the lore that it presents is that to create new Ghastlies, it has to kill people and take their souls. And when a Gengar kills a Ghastly or a person, it becomes a Ghastly. So it almost does add this undertone of beyond the trickster where you're, the grade school bully is an asshole and doing all this mean stuff, but there's loneliness underneath there or pain of some sort. So it's he's this wacky trickster, but he's also very lonely, and that makes him mysterious.
He wants attention. I mean, anyone who's going to pull pranks wants attention. So that's a pretty good way to center the character.
It does, again, the times where it raises questions that honestly shouldn't be addressed, but I have to point out anyway. It also creates a terrifying little situation where Gengar breed by murder. Every Ghastly is a guy who died.
Right. I think the word breed has really thrown me off there. How about make more of?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They also lay eggs.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, what?
Every Pokemon lays eggs.
Wait, what? All Pokemon lay eggs.
All Pokemon lay eggs. Chat, tell them.
Yeah, every Pokemon. Well, there's 7 that won't.
Yeah, the magic legendary ones.
Please tell me it's not the birds, because if the birds don't lay eggs, I'd be pissed.
A lot of the birds don't lay eggs.
You've got to be kidding me.
Hold on, but they're the mystical magical birds.
They're the yeah. They're
That doesn't matter.
If you have a Pokemon that is basically a god, it doesn't lay eggs.
Exactly.
If the ghost can lay egg, okay, fine. I'll just accept it.
God doesn't lay eggs. That's all you need to take out of this one.
Yeah.
Al, you know what? I will accept that. God does not lay eggs. Fine. Filed away. Okay.
That is going to be the most important thing to come out of this discussion is the decision that God does not lay eggs.
Right. Okay. Done. Understood.
Jesus did not come out of an egg. We can confirm that one.
That would have made that so much more of an interesting story.
I don't know. He was in that cave for 3 days. Maybe.
Are you trying to make the argument that he was laying eggs in there, or that the
maybe
cave itself is an egg?
Maybe he became an egg again and needed 3 days to incubate, and then and then.
Yeah, when I am on the brink of death, that's what I do. I just egg up. I call it egging up.
Who knows? Were you there? I wasn't there.
It's true. I wasn't there. I was not.
Completely possible.
Coming back on track. Let's hit our second question. Miki, is Gengar a monster?
Yeah, I think so. The whole idea of Pokemon pocket monsters, I would say the majority of them are monsters, but Gengar, remove the idea of Pokemon and what the name means. Just look at that thing and it's horrifying. It's scary. It's this shadow creature that, can hide in shadows, that, absorbs heat from life, that can forge a destiny bond with you so that when you try to kill it, it kills you. There's all these weird monstery things it does. I guess, yeah, with whatever my heart says a monster is, then yes, it is a monster.
I'm not going to keep harping on birds in Miltank. We'll pick a different instance because, like you said, they're Pokemon. Take Poochyena. It's a dog.
Yeah, it's a dog.
If you took
dog.
it out of the context, yes, they're all pocket monsters, but that's a dog.
Yeah.
Magmar is a guy that's on fire. That's not a monster. That's just a weird dude.
No, Magmar's a monster. Magmar's is a fire-breathing, weird monster man.
You could give a guy that power. We have Dragonborn in D&D, people that are like, they breathe fire.
True. A firm definition of monster would be needed to like really, really dissect which Pokemon belong in the category. You know, I have a running theory that every Pokemon fits one of 3 categories: dog, lizard, or pile of goo. Every Pokemon fits into one of those 3.
First off, birds. Just as a counter argument.
Birds are lizards.
Yeah, birds fall into the lizard category.
I'm on board.
Magmar, I think, lands somewhere in the dog range.
No? Okay. Sounds like goo. I'm just guessing.
No, I think muck is the goo, yeah.
Ditto, also a goo.
Ditto's a goo.
What about those little dudes that live underground and you just see the tops of their heads?
Dog.
Because they dig?
Yeah, ground dog.
That's a Diglett for anyone who's trying to follow along at home. What about Mr. Mime? We're going to take a quick aside from the podcast and just break this entire thing.
Yeah.
Mr. Mime, explicitly a man?
If I had to choose, lizard, yeah. If I had to choose one of the 3 categories, definitely not goo.
Yes, he's very much physical, a solid object.
And he's kind of like a chameleon, so lizard. I can see that.
Yeah, definitely more lizard than dog.
I will agree with that, because when I see a lizard, sometimes my knee jerk is, Jesus Christ, get that away from me. And when I see a dog, I'm usually like, oh, good, a friend. And when I see Mr. Mime, I do not think, oh, good, a friend.
There maybe should be a category for like just a guy, right? Like Machamp, just a guy.
Electabuzz, electric guy. There's lots of those.
As far as like how we classify monsters, generally on the show, they have to have a certain degree of, they can't just be smart. They can't just be like a person. Like if you're of human intelligence and you're just a person, maybe you're evil, maybe you aren't. But they need to be a little smarter than animals because they need to make decisions. They need to be cruel on purpose. They need to be malicious.
Like when a wolf kills you, it's either self-defense or food.
Yes.
When a dragon kills you, sometimes it's like, oh, I wanted your things and I don't value your life.
That's a good starting point. Yeah, that checks out. And then that's definitely, for what I imagine to be on par with Gengar at the very least.
It does seem like instinctual and malicious.
Yes, exactly. A little bit instinct, but definitely like, I'm going to cause you harm because it's kind of just what I like doing.
Yeah, I just enjoy it.
It's my hobby.
I just have fun doing it. Yeah.
Your displeasure is generally the thing that makes me smile.
And if I'm very lucky, you'll die and be like my little playmates / underlings, it kind of feels like.
Yeah.
/ son.
Right. Ugh, yeah. Underling I like better, but okay.
Yeah. When you defeat your enemy, they become
your children.
Your child.
Is that not how it works?
Well, he does feel like a bully that would then gather lesser bullies in his orbit.
Yeah.
If Pokemon was a high school drama, that is exactly what Gengar would be.
Yeah, he'd have a cool, like, Letterman's jacket.
Yes.
So we have to ask a new question. Miki, what are the most important things that you would have to put in a stat block for Gengar that it is recognizably Gengar?
The most important things to make it a Gengar. The first thing to go off of is, I would say, the stat distribution of what it has in the games, right? And so Gengar's advantages in the games are that it's fast and it is a strong special attacker. So it casts good spells. So that's kind of where it would need to start in that area. It's fast and it's good at spells.
For base stats, 75 is like average. And it's like health is 60, attack is 65, defense is 60, special defense is 75. Like, the only thing a Gengar is really good for is it's going to move quickly and it's going to be a fucking wizard. It's going to shoot magic death lasers at you.
Pretty much, yeah.
Put it in the stat block is just giving it a high dexterity. And then I figure any magic in D&D has to come out of one of the 3 mental stats. We have intelligence, wisdom, and charisma. How smart you are, how sort of attuned to the world you are, and then just raw force of personality. And between, the goofy sort of nature of it, like it's trying to do jokes and it's a ghost, so I'm calling it a charisma caster.
Yeah, that makes the most sense for sure.
I'd buy that.
And you just take a little bit out of the strength, and we're giving it a con bonus because it's a monster. You never give a monster negative constitution unless you want it to die immediately, and we want this thing to have enough hit points to go a couple rounds.
It also fits the vibe of it being a bully, that it's a little bit tough.
Yeah.
So I like that.
That makes sense.
It also lets me bypass one of my least favorite things in 5th edition, which is it's a ghost. Like, normal type moves don't affect it. You shouldn't be able to just punch a ghost. And the way we normally hand that is with something like a damage resistance. If it gets hit, it takes half damage.
Okay.
Nobody likes finding out they did half damage. That's a miserable experience. So just give it more hit points. They're numerically the same thing, and you don't have to tell your players, hey, yeah, the fighter, fuck the fighter. Fighter can't do anything. You got a sword, it's a ghost. Go to hell. Gengar can lick you. If it can lick you, you can punch it.
Wait, why does it lick you? I'm sorry. That's new information.
That's one of its things.
It has a big tongue and it licks you sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
It's really
Okay.
more of a ghastly thing, mostly because it doesn't have hands.
So you're saying it's like a leftover evolutionary Pokemon trait.
Yeah.
I'll accept that.
One of the fun things about that is the move itself has a strong chance of paralyzing the target.
That's actually why, if you look at the stat block, I gave it a lick attack. I gave it a 10-foot reach because, of course, you have to. It's a giant, terrifying tongue.
Yeah.
But specifically, if it hits, it grapples.
Gross. Okay. Excellent. Will this thing just eat you? Like, is that something it does? How does it kill? How does it get the soul is what I want to know.
That is a good question. And the way that it eats you is kind of through your subconscious. So the wombo combo for a Gengar in the shows and in the games is you put it to sleep somehow. You put the enemy to sleep, usually with hypnosis. And then one of the big moves is Dream Eater, where it will just absorb the enemy's health, right? It will just absorb it, just take it away, and it's mine now. Thank you. So that's kind of how Gengar does the soul consuming in the Pokemon world, at the very least.
Knock them out and then get them in their dreams, like Freddy Krueger.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
The trouble is, and Aram, we talk about this on the show all of the time. Things like hypnosis, sleep effects are miserable in gameplay. Mick, I caught the tail end of the stream before we started up here. If you get hit by something that puts you to sleep, it means you stop playing for a while.
It's terrible. Yeah.
Awful. So the way I've handled that one is I gave it something. Anybody in the audience who's familiar with, 5th edition and monster stat blocks, I gave it basically the Night Hag's ability, where it will straight up sneak up to you in your sleep. And if it can touch you while you sleep, it will go into your dreams. And your hit point maximum will be reduced by a D10. You'll take a little bit of damage, basically, and it'll permanently, semi-permanently, pull down your hit point maximum. And if it ever kills you this way, if it reduces your hit point maximum to 0, that's when we get a Ghastly.
Do they have lair actions? Do they have a home base usually, or do they wander?
That's one of the things that I don't think ever comes up, because Pokemon don't have lairs. They're wild animals, right?
They just are anywhere.
Yeah, especially in the case of Gengar, where it seems like they're fucking ghosts. They don't have a specific lair because they just show up where people died.
Right. So anywhere someone died, there could be a Gengar just hovering, but they don't go far from there. They stay around where they perished. They
could theoretically go anywhere, right? But I mean, in the show, you see ones that, I can only speak to that first season from when I was a kid. You see the one that lives in the mansion, but
has a home.
Yeah.
And AJ's pointing out they have habitats, but also in the first game, they're all specifically in the only graveyard in the entire country, I guess.
Yeah.
It's an indoor graveyard.
As you do. I think that's called a crypt, but okay.
No, it's a tower.
Oh, got you.
You're picturing a small indoor graveyard. This is like a New York skyscraper, and that's where we put our dead dog now.
Okay. In a vertical graveyard.
Some of the Pokemon habitats clearly come about as a gameplay artifact.
Right.
The only reason that this is in this location and it doesn't live over here is because we don't want you to get it earlier in the game. We want you to have to go around to be able to catch them. Lavender Town is one of the most creepy fucking places in video games.
It sounds nice.
No, it doesn't sound nice, actually. The Lavender?
No, just think Lavender Town. Like it's like,
Oh, yeah, the name sounds like relaxing.
Oh, it sounds lovely and peaceful. Or later I'm going to send you the Lavender Town theme, and it's creepy. That's why Gengar seems like it has a lair, is because they specifically are all in this tower. But hypothetically, if you have this thing that is invested in having friends and like wants to, kill people and then make friends, it leads me to one of two directions. Either they're going to be moving around a lot. Whatever Gengar forms is going to go somewhere where there's a lot of people, and it's not going to really have a lair because it wants to be in someone else's lair. It wants to find you and make you one of its toys.
Its lair might be your house.
The other option is nest. It wants friends. So if you get a second Gengar, they'll hang out. And then if someone walks in, they'll kill again. And they'll just hit a critical mass of there are going to be Gengar nests or Ghastly nests, whatever the case may be.
They must annoy each other though, right? Like, if you have one trickster, okay, it's fine. But if you have two tricksters, both either pulling pranks or overlapping with pranks, that's going to get annoying quick. They must not be able to team up for long. It's why they need the little ghost balls, because they can bully them and push them around. But if they advance, then they have to go off.
So just for clarity, the little ghost balls are Ghastlies, yeah? That's what you're referencing?
Correct. Little smoke balls.
After a while, Mick, you learn to speak dipshit.
I am giving excellent descriptions of all of these Pokemon that I know much about.
The idea of tying them to a location really does feed back well into that idea of them being lonely and trying to kill people to have friends. Is like, I can't leave.
Right.
And if I let you leave, I'll be alone again. Makes them real fucking sad.
As a podcast network, our first priority has always been audio and the stories we're able to share with you. But we also sell merch, and organizing that was made both possible and easy with Shopify. Shopify is the global commerce platform that helps you sell and grow at every stage of your business, from the launch your online shop stage all the way to the did we just hit 1 million orders stage. Whether you're selling scented soap or offering outdoor outfits, Shopify helps you sell everywhere. They have an all-in-one e-commerce platform and in-person POS system, so wherever and whatever you're selling, Shopify's got you covered. With the internet's best converting checkout, 36% better on average compared to other leading commerce platforms, Shopify helps you turn browsers into buyers. Shopify has allowed us to share something tangible with the podcast community we've built here, selling our beanies, sweatshirts, and mugs to fans of our shows without taking up too much time from all the other work we do to bring you even more great content. And it's not just us. Shopify powers 10% of all e-commerce in the US. Shopify is also the global force behind Allbirds, Rothy's, and Brooklinen, and millions of other entrepreneurs of every size across 175 countries. Because businesses that grow with Shopify. Sign up for a $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/realm, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/REALM now to grow your business, no matter what stage you're in. Shopify.com/realm.
You want to switch gears a little bit? Do some murder?
Yeah, let's do it.
Normally, we have something that's directly out of the monster manual, so if folks want to follow along at home, they just got to flip through the alphabetical book.
Oh, but since this is kind of just built...
Since I'm making this up, let's just go through real quick. This is something that, as far as I'm concerned, should not be particularly powerful. So we're looking at a challenge 3 or 4 monster. It's got a fly speed because it's a ghost. They can fly. 15 armor class, 45 hit points, stealth and deception because you gotta. I gave it advantage on dexterity checks in dim light or darkness because it can hide in shadows. And I also gave it a bonus action teleport as long as it's within shadow. Hypnosis, basically, if you look it in the eye, it can try to make you fall asleep. If you save, can't repeat it. That's just a balancing thing to make sure you're not actually just putting the party to sleep. I also changed it to be a charm effect.
Okay.
I think that works better than actually putting a party member to sleep because then you can use it out of combat as like Gengar sneaks around and then locks eyes with you. And then it's like, good, now play with me. Dream Eater can sneak up on sleepy people. And once it gets you, you slowly die. And if it kills you, you become a ghastly. And as long as you remain a ghastly, you can't be brought back from the dead.
And what if the ghastly is killed?
What I have here is a creature who dies from the effects of Dream Eater returns in 1d6 days, so usually like 3 days, as a ghastly. If the creature is brought back to life by Revivify or similar magic, that does not occur.
Okay.
You've got a window.
If it comes back as a ghastly, it has become an undead, and you can't bring someone back if they were undead.
It's gone at that point. But you get a little bit of time.
Yeah.
You get a little bit of time there to be like, oh, maybe we can save his life.
Just as like a lore thing as well, like the major thing is when you bring someone back from the dead, the assumption is that their soul went somewhere that it can be brought back from. The soul did go somewhere. It's over there. And as long as it's occupied with that, you can't stuff it back in the body. DM discretion. If you kill the ghastly, maybe you can bring the person back, which becomes a whole other plot that you can throw into games, which is kind of cool.
I think you'd at least have to kill the original ghastly.
You're doing this by vampire rules?
It just feels right. Yeah.
Gotta kill the sire.
You got to kill the sire. Absolutely.
And then just as far as attacks, you give it Lick, you give it Nightshade, because that's the ghost Pokemon attack. Like I said, I started back in Red and Blue, and that was like the only ghost move that existed.
Ghost Pokemon weren't very good back then.
No, especially because they were poison. The only thing ghost Pokemon were good for back in the day was killing psychic types, and then they made them ghost/poison, so they were all weak to psychic types. And then I gave it Destiny Bond, which is just if the effect goes off and you hit Gengar with an attack that would kill it, instead its hit points stop at 1, it stays alive, and you take the excess damage.
I like that a lot. Yeah. When I was reading through, I had a good, like, big smile on my face reading that. Destiny Bond in particular is like such a devastatingly annoying ability in the exact challenge run that like I'm working on right now. Because if an enemy is faster than you and they Destiny Bond you,
you're fucked.
You both just die, right? That's what it does. And I like the way this is reworked because it takes away the immense frustration of it and it makes it like dangerous in a fun way. That like if it happens you're like, oh no, but like maybe I have a chance.
There are a lot of abilities that frustrate me in Dungeons and Dragons where if you don't know they're coming, they feel like you got cheated. Mm-hmm. Or if you do know they're coming, then they're trivialized. The example we keep coming back to is like regenerating, like for trolls. If you cut a troll, then it'll just grow back. But if you damage a troll with fire, then it won't grow back. Same thing with like hydras and cutting off the heads. But since everyone knows that trick, they know what to do. If I tell you you're fighting a hydra, then you're, cauterize the heads once you cut it off, and then we don't have to deal with it. Mm-hmm. This is something where the first time it goes off, it means the fight's going to run a little longer because Gengar isn't dead yet. And the party immediately goes like, oh, is that what it did?
It also helps it feel like a cartoon. In a cartoon, a new baddie is introduced, they're super, super tough, and then every time after that, they're kind of dealt with easily. Mm-hmm. So that does fit.
And decidability, we have not designed Gengar as a Warlock familiar. We designed it as a monster.
But I do like the idea of it also being a familiar.
Every Pokemon's got to be a familiar, but that's what you use a Ghastly for. It's like, because then if you want to do a plot line where it's like evolving and becomes a Gengar and like untethers itself from you, now you've created sort of a weird NPC situation, and I like those sorts of things.
It would have a lot of anger towards you, I would imagine. I like that, yeah.
Yeah.
It wants its revenge.
Or it's happy because you were its friend. Who knows?
That seems unlikely. This character seems rather sad all the time. Like in the backstory, in the stories that involve it, everything seems just a little bit sad with this one.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
We're going to start off this little session, I think, with you, Miki.
Okay.
I want you to tell me two things. One, where are you haunting? And two, is this where you died?
Let's say yes, the place I am haunting will be where I died. And let's say that the reason I continue to haunt it is because I died in a betrayal. Betrayed by someone who I had romantic feelings for. And it turns out that they wanted a magical item that I had. Two rough customers found each other, and no honor among thieves, stabbed in the back, dead. As a living character, never really interested in thieving as much as I was in companionship, and call it whatever you want, but now as a ghost, too sad, too depressed, too upset to really leave. Still getting over it, right? So we're hanging around in the same area, kind of hoping that maybe they come back. Maybe we get a chance to see them again.
The top floor of an old bar.
I like it.
There used to be an inn. This used to be kind of a hotel room. As you're sitting there bleeding, watching the person you cared about walk out of the room with what was supposed to be your retirement, the way that the two of you were going to start your lives together, you start to fade out of consciousness. And you watch her walk out of the room, and you watch her shadow stay on the floor. The door closes, and the last thing you see as you start to pass out is a little bit of purple as the shadow peels itself off the ground, and then red eyes, and just a tremendous mouth. Aram, you've come to town not too long ago. You've been on a bit of a world tour.
I've come to town because I am the son and or grandson of the woman who betrayed this guy. And I have come because this bar has been largely dilapidated for a long time, but the neighborhood's taken an upturn and we need to do some rehabilitation.
We're going to do some ghost gentrification.
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what's going on here.
Not gentrification, Gengarification. So this place closed down a while ago because rumors of the haunting were there, and it was all these weird little things. And then it was suddenly not the glass falls off the table. A glass hurls across the room and just shatters against a wall. It becomes unequivocal. Suddenly the place is actually incredibly pleasant in the summer, which seemed to piss off whatever was there, because everybody's suddenly coming in because the bar was always just a little bit cool. And then in the winter, it was unbearably cold. But you come into town, and you know that this place could be worth a lot of money. I want to know, what is your plan?
Well, my plan is to go in and clear it out. And then, of course, get dibs on the name The afterlife and have it like in a really thin font stretched out for a long time with a single light underneath it. That would be my general plan.
Okay, so just so I'm abundantly clear, you were told this place was haunted by potentially a very aggressive ghost, and your plan was, well, make it leave.
Well, yeah, basically, because first of all, I get a lot of things done my way. You know, I'm kind of a bit of a bully myself. A lot of people say that things can't be done until I have a conversation with them. Figure this is going to go the same way.
Do you want to give us a description of your bully?
He's like 6'4", ruggedly handsome. Blonde hair that's long and kind of flips when he turns his head. Bright green eyes. Carries himself with the confidence of a man who's never really faced difficulty, but still walks into any room with a swagger expecting everything to go his way.
I guess the other thing to ask is just the front door.
Yeah, of course. Walking through the front door. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, no, you probably actually purchased this place already. It's preemptive. You know that whatever's in there is going to listen. So, whatever.
I just got it in the will, in fact. That's what happened. So, yeah, I just got it in the will.
Nice. I like that. Okay. So you come in. You unlock the door. It takes a little bit of fighting. Like, you have to work the key in, like, brush it clear. You hear the little click, and then you still have to give the lock, like, a yank because it is rusted shut. And the door opens. Mick, what's home look like? I'm going to bullshit because, you know, Gengar is a fucking weird ghost. So if you want to do some illusion bullshit, have at her.
I'd like to imagine that we've got a nice like 2-floor space over here, kind of almost like the upper level being having a balcony that kind of surrounds and looks down onto the ground, and up top center of the bar is this big hanging but also like really bad looking and not at all in good shape chandelier.
Calling it a chandelier is generous. What seems to have happened is someone drilled halfway through a wagon wheel and just popped some fucking candles in that thing and hefted it onto the ceiling.
Right. It feels like there's a bar in the middle. There's a staircase around the edge. There's probably some rooms up top where there may have been a tavern or something at some point. Okay, I can picture this.
Yeah.
With a shitty wagon wheel hanging up top with like where they used to actually put candles in it.
It's one of those situations where, like, looking at it, you can see the love that went into starting this place. Like, it is built like a beautiful, ornate bar, and there are just things like the construction of that chandelier that give away that whoever actually did it did not have money.
They made do, but it was nice.
Yeah.
The bones of this are good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we're going to knock it all out and replace it with black tile, but, you know, the bones are here. Yeah.
Get a fog machine. Fog machines haven't been invented yet. We're going to hire a wizard to cast fog cloud repeatedly.
To hire fog cloud and probably, you know, cast dancing lights a lot, and we're good to go.
Yeah.
Sounds pretty fun.
I'm looking for a soulless 80s vibe is what I'm trying to get here.
God, if this bar wasn't already haunted, we're going to fill it with fucking vampires.
Let's say late evening.
I got into town late. Yeah, I had to go drop off my bags. Yeah.
Not too many, but a couple of windows looking in. Just enough to cast a little bit of light.
Half boarded over, but the moon is out and it's been a long time, so it's still coming in bright enough. You can see the shapes of things in the darkness. As you start to move through, you start to get that thing where you kick up a little bit of dust, and now you can see the rays of light coming in through the window.
I'd say on the bar itself, you're going to find a stack, like almost at a carnival, like a stack of bottles stacked on top of each other, one over another, to make like a pyramid of bottles, and looking very sturdy, like it's not going to fall down.
It looks like to me something that if there were squatters here or kids, that were in and out, they may have made this. That would be my first instinct. Are there like any lanterns on the walls, anything like that?
Yeah, there's lanterns on the wall. None of them obviously lit.
Okay, Dylan, then I'm looking to see if they have oil in them, if any of them still have a wick. You know, what lanterns can I light? What torches can I light? How can I get light into this room?
Immediately on the inside, there's like, honestly, just a little sconce with a candle. It's sort of like, you know that the major fixture is supposed to be that chandelier. So this is like, I've walked in early in the morning, I'm opening up, and I need to light something to be able to see what I'm doing.
All right, I will light that candle.
The moment you do, this place gets lighter than it should be. There's like a half second where you can see it like in its glory, and then the dust just sort of settles again.
Can like hear the music freight moment.
Yeah, you can hear the chatter, the clinking of glasses, gone immediately.
Okay. Hello? Hello?
One of the tables around rattles a little bit, and then the next one, and then the next one.
Right.
And then they repeat the rattling in a little bit of a pattern, but speeding up and then slowing back down until completely stopping.
Right then, I guess that's my answer. I think he would ease his axe off of his back, just kind of tighten his grip around it just a tad, and say, okay, well, pleasure to meet you. And he's certainly heard the rumors about this place being haunted as well.
Oh yeah, I mean, when it was open, there were rumors about it being haunted. The moment it closed...
Are we in Pokemon world, or are we in D&D world that happens to have a ghastly?
D&D.
Yeah,
okay, all right.
Yeah.
So ghosts are real.
Our assumption is we're starting off on Dungeons and Dragons, and it's just that there's a Gengar here. There's probably a Charizard somewhere fighting a red dragon, and it's dope as fuck.
So my first assumption is that this ghost is real. This is a real thing that is happening. All right. Then I would just tighten my grip around the axe and kind of like now begin like slowly moving through the room, pulling curtains back and just looking around.
Over at the bar, a glass on the table starts filling up with a liquid that you recognize as mead.
Okay.
The stool pulls out just a little bit in a way that's meant to be like inviting.
Is it doing that thing where the glass just fills from the bottom? There's no obvious source of it? Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
I'm gonna add in a thing on your behalf, Mick. The stool pulls back, and it's like there's a moment of like unsettling, and then the ghost lifts up off, or the glass lifts off the bar, and you just see the dust sort of. Now there's just a little patch of clean bar.
All right. Well, I mean, you know, I'm never one to turn down a drink. So I think I'd put the axe back on my back, walk over to the bar, take a seat, lift the glass of mead, cheers to just the air, and take a sip.
When you go to cheers, another glass from below the bar comes up and taps it, but this one is empty.
It's got ghost beer in it.
Yeah.
I will cheer that glass and take a drink.
Roll me a con save.
That seems logical. Okay. That's going to be a 3 + 6 is 9.
How many decades do you think mead holds? Because I'm going to say not several.
No, what would it become? It would just become like
Vinegar.
Right. Okay. Right. So it's just spits it out immediately.
And I can't help but to just find a lot of joy in this, and I'm laughing. I'm laughing up a storm seeing you just being filled with yuckers. I'm loving it.
The size of the mouth, the raw dimensions of this, and like normally, I don't advocate for bringing physics into D&D and shit like that, but that voice would have to be so low that it is impossible to find a direction to it.
It's just around.
You hear this low rolling cackle.
Drink goes down, axe comes back off the back, and he's walking around, just kind of spinning it in both hands. And just like, okay, friend, that was a fine joke. I'm glad to have entertained you, but you're going to have to get on your way. And he's just like pulling back curtains, lighting candles as he walks around, just looking for whatever the source of this is.
We're going to do an opposed roll real quick. Mick, you're going to roll stealth. You're going to have advantage because we are in a dark room and you're just kind of shifting from shadow to shadow wherever you want to be. And Aram, you're going to roll perception.
Okay.
Trying to find the little fuck.
8 + 5 is 13.
Stealth, I've got 13 + 6, I got 19.
You're looking through this place, just kind of pulling curtains to the side, letting a little bit more light into the room. But all that's really doing, because like chairs were stacked up, like the furniture is just sort of piled off to the side. Like they're just, the bits of ground you can see are now very clear, but there are still shadows everywhere.
It's just making deeper shadows.
Yeah. As you kind of make your little wander around, you're coming up empty.
All right. And then I guess he would just kind of like lean on his axe, right? Just kind of looking around the room, a little annoyed, but he just kind of shrugs and he's like, okay, if you don't want to show yourself, you don't want to show yourself. But we're going to start construction tomorrow. So there's just going to be more of me here and more of other people too.
And upon hearing that, I'm not the happiest about what sounds to me like a threat, but at the same time, I'm not too worried about you. I'd like to drop a rock onto a table or a ball or any sort of spherical device, and maybe kind of out of eye shot of you when you're not looking around, kind of from a table in the bar somewhere, just throw it towards the stack of bottles. Missing intentionally.
Okay.
Yeah. You just hear, like, where is this set of bottles set up?
Somewhere on the bar. So like maybe a couple feet down from where he had his drink.
One of the things eyes in general are very, very good at is change. Like, even if you can't see something, like it's not enough contrast for you to really make out what the shape is, the fact that something moved even in near to pitch darkness, you can usually pick up on it. So you suddenly turn and look at like halfway through the arc, and then you hear the crash, and what you see is pile of bottles still standing up perfectly straight, and a rock embedded in a little mirror that's like set up behind the bar.
That was one of the things we were going to keep. He was a little frustrated with that. All right. And he would walk over to like the bottles that the rock missed, and he would look out to the room and just shove them over. And just kind of cross his arms.
He's not playing properly.
I'd like to throw a rock at you now for doing that.
Okay, so you're going to make an attack roll at +6 because it's a dexterity thing.
I've got a 9.
This time, like, there's one bottle that was left up, and you like shove the thing. Obviously, the top few rows fall, and like one of the like bottom ones is still standing next to you, and you just sort of lean back against the bar, like "fuck you," and then just smash.
Just right past my head.
Just misses you entirely. Takes out the bottle beside you.
All right. Okay. So now he's got his axe and he's just going to step forward and just cleave the air in front of him and just see what happens.
Mick, are you within about 5 feet of Aram, or are you a little further back right now?
Within about 5 feet.
You did throw something at me, so it seems like you'd be far away.
I did, yeah. With the throw, I would assume, a little bit further than 5, maybe no more than like 15.
Just gotta check. You watch the mean guy swing his axe.
It's hilarious.
There's like a good 20 to 30 seconds of him just back and forth at varying heights.
while you're swinging, I can't help but enjoy the comedy of it and enjoy the opportunity I see in it. I'd love to take a passage through the shadows, somewhere a little behind where you are, staying down low into the shadows, and maybe just trying to give you a nice little lick on the ankles, just so you feel something.
So disturbing.
Are you going for a full attack, or is this just legitimately like wrap the tongue around the ankle?
Yeah, this not an attack, but
okay, cool.
I want him to feel my presence. I want him to feel something here.
Then we're just gonna do the same sort of thing. Mick, I'm gonna put you like right under the bar, basically, like just where the stool would push into, and we're gonna do the same opposed stealth versus perception.
My perception is going to be 12 plus 5 is 17.
And 16, 6, 22.
So you're in the midst of attacking a Rob. You're not paying enough attention because you're trying to really like, there's a point where you don't hit anything the first few swings, and now you're like looking for that little bit of motion, but you're looking ahead of you where the rock came from. And then you feel like right at the cuff of your pant, just a little bit of damp.
Yeah, I'm wearing those like barbarian sandals. This would be a really unfortunate feeling.
Just like up along the top of the foot and then around the ankle, and then it just squeezes a little bit and just releases. You probably look down in time to see pink recede into the dark.
Okay, first of all, he would do that thing where, like, you know, if you see a rat, he's just like, oh, like leaps up and back, like, what
drops
the
the
hell
axe
was that?
entire.
Yeah, I mean, like, what? Like, he's got it like in front of him, freaking, you know, he didn't like swing or react. He just kind of flipped out because something licked, like not just licked, but like hugged his foot.
Yeah.
Like that would be rather upsetting. So he did just completely freak out.
Yeah, and upon seeing how unsettled you are, absolutely just cracking up a little bit again, laughing, and I think from here, working my way to the upper area of the bar where it has that surrounding the bar, kind of the balcony view, and knocking over just one by one bottles that are up there in a sequence. Just push one down, clash, push one down, clash.
So you see that tongue go back, you freak out, jump back, you've got the axe in front of you, and then you see these red eyes, and then they shut, and they're gone entirely. And then you just see from the far side of the bar, that same tongue just come out and just one at a time, just punk, punk, punk. It just runs towards the stairs.
Knocking them off in order though, right?
Yeah, just going down the length of the bar.
I watch that until they get close, charge forward and try to meet, like, you know, judging where the next ones are going to be knocked off, and try to charge forward to that area.
I'm going to give you a disadvantage on this one as you're kind of like lunging over the bar to hit this thing. But give me an attack.
Okay.
Swing that fucking axe.
I have a +7 to hit. I'm going to roll with disadvantage. That gives me a natural 1. +7 is 8.
You go over and you fully lunge two-handed with the axe, swing over the bar, and what you manage to do, because like you don't account for the fact that this is dusty as all shit, there is a layer of a near frictionless surface, and you fully slide over the bar, landing headfirst on the far side of the bar, landing on your back.
Crashing through a table.
Just, yeah. Like, you're coming from the patron side to the bar side, so like the handful of bottles that were still there, like your boots just smashed through a couple of bottles.
All right, so I'm just laying on my ground, wind knocked out of me, axe across my chest.
Gengar's still going, so like you just see this spiky purple back under the bar just running away from you, and you just keep watching that tongue just going down the bar.
Okay, so at this point, he has been humiliated, he has been violated, he has been beaten up, and as a child of privilege, he does not take that well. There's only so far you can push a guy like that, and he just explodes and flies into a rage.
Okay, at this point, I think it would be appropriate to roll for initiative.
18 plus 2 is 20.
15 plus 2, 17.
Yeah, my guy's pissed now.
Aram, you're going to be going first.
Okay.
What do you think, Miki? 15, 20 feet away?
Yeah, that sounds
You're seeing this thing
fair.
as it's
good.
like running away from you, that weird spiky purple back, that disgusting near to prehensile tongue just flinging these bottles.
He's going to pick himself up off the ground, grab the axe. The only other thing his mom left him besides this bar and this magical axe. And he's just going to scream bloody murder because he's got a temper. And he's going to leap across the bar and try and bring it down on whatever the heck this is.
Give me an attack roll.
All right. Am I still at disadvantage?
Straight up and down.
Then that is going to be a 7 plus 7 is 14.
Miki, you hear the scream, the full rage behind you, which isn't funny, but it's like, take a joke, nerd. And then there's this slight whistle, and something slams into the ground beside you. Now, you aren't 100% certain of the why, but when you see that blade, when you see these little sort of etchings across this near silver, almost perfectly reflective surface, it is familiar. There's this little like warm feeling that it sort of injects into you, immediately followed by this empty, gnawing cold and this sense of absolute betrayal.
I find the idea of you swinging so hilariously at me just wildly entertaining, especially when you were just so close. And now that you're up close and personal and just right face to face with me, I feel like it'd be fun to just give you a big ol' lick on the face, just a big ol' smack of the tongue.
All right, make your attack roll.
AC 15.
That is a 14 plus 6.
That is definitely going to hit.
All right, Mick, 2d6 plus 2 bludgeoning for the tongue and Aram. You are grappled.
Right. Gross. Okay.
All right, 2d6 plus 2. So that is going to be 5 plus 2, 7.
That tongue flings out. It comes under your arm, back up around your shoulder, slaps you in the face.
Sure.
And then flops down across your chest, and you feel the entire thing constrict tight around your body. It gets a little hard to breathe.
Gross. Okay. Well, fortunately, I'm raging, so all of my strength checks are at advantage, and he is just going to try and do the He-Man thing where it's like, "Rah!" and then burst out of it.
All right, that's going to be your action.
Yeah.
Give me an athletics check.
So with advantage, that gives me a natural 20 plus 6 is 26.
Yeah, that'll do it. Yeah, 100%. You flex real big. You are a tough man. Big scary boy.
I got out of a tongue.
There's a point where it like starts to like, you feel it breaking grip. And when you get away from it, it's not that it fully retracts. It's that you move through it. It stops being fully corporeal, and you almost fall backwards away from this thing.
But does it like leave saliva all over me?
100%, yeah.
Oh,
There's
gross.
Super gooped. That's just how she goes.
Disgusting. All right, but I'm out of the tongue.
You're out of the tongue. Is there anything else you want to do with your turn?
I'm right next to this thing, right?
Yes.
Well, I can't attack again because that was my action. So I guess I would just grip the axe and just ready for the next round.
Yeah, you just stare this thing down in these huge, nearly glowing red eyes.
Looking at you, Aram, you have your axe and you're wearing your boots. The soles are littered with shards of glass, I'm assuming.
Absolutely.
At a quick glance, do I notice any other weapons hanging off of you or any sort of satchels, bags?
I'm not wearing armor. I'm dressed pretty sparsely, right? I've got more or less just like those leather strap sandals on, and I've got like a vest on, and then maybe a pair of pants or just kind of like
Definitely
a kilt
a pair
kind
of
of
pants.
thing. Yeah, well, or a kilt kind of thing.
Maybe, yeah.
They have something, is what I'm saying. But it's not, but like, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, like if I was going to go work out in the barn, is kind of how I'm dressed right now.
Yeah.
With the big ass magical axe.
And presumably his wallet. Like just a little coin pouch off to the side.
And that, yeah.
You scared me a little bit there. I felt a little scared and worried that you got so mad. I don't like that you can't take a joke. It annoys me a little bit.
I'm not good at jokes.
Yeah, so maybe we can find your sense of humor. I'm gonna try to take that pouch if I can.
100%. So that's going to be a sleight of hand check. You don't have a sleight of hand mix, so that's a straight dexterity roll.
Okay.
My perception is 11 plus 5 is 16.
I rolled a big old natural 20.
So I see it, but I don't stop it.
You look at him, you rear back, the tongue comes back, and when he goes into like a defensive posture, like coming, you basically give the whole like, you're going to come down like an axe, so he goes up to block it. And then just with that giant grin that you can only get out of a Gengar, where your entire chest is your mouth, you just run past him and take his wallet off his belt.
Son of a bitch.
With that dumb little fucking Pokemon waddle you get out of those things. You all know.
Yeah, with those little stub legs, yeah.
Yeah.
Just for the fun of it, because you're seeing this all happen, I want to eat it. I want to like put it
Son
in
of a bitch.
100%. Bonus action, swallow the wallet.
Thank you.
There was like 100 in gold in there. That was all my traveling money.
And I don't know if this is doable, but for the rest of whatever I have on this turn, I'd love to make some space between us, if that's doable.
It is doable, but because you used your action to take his wallet, he strictly speaking gets an attack of opportunity if you do so. Do you want to run away?
Absolutely. I'm not afraid of him.
I will take the attack of opportunity.
Let's see if you can hit him for once.
Swing my axe. That is an 8 plus 7 is 15.
You finally hit.
Oh, all right. So as he's running away, I strike him in the back. That is going to do 11 points of damage as I swipe into like your semi-corporeal back.
You bring it down and you slam it home, and you watch the little purple tail chopped off. Except as it runs away, that sort of evaporates and it's still got a tail.
Sure, it just grows right back.
It's like as you run away, it's growing back. It's coming out of the tail as if it were never cut off.
And I'd love to add that you can hear the jingling of coins
Inside of. Right.
Yeah.
We'll go full fucking anime for this. It isn't even like you pop the wallet in your mouth. It's as you're running away, you're dumping the coins in your mouth.
Just swallowing this river of coins.
Yeah.
And you hear that fucking low, like spine-tingling laugh.
What a son of a bitch. Okay.
You got like a 30-foot move speed, Mick, so you're getting to like the far side of the bar now.
Mm-hmm.
Aram, it's your turn.
Okay, just in an absolute rage, he just charges after him.
Okay.
And I'm going to reckless attack.
So you're going to get advantage on this one then.
So this means that for the rest of this round, you have advantage to hit me.
Okay.
Because I'm just not trying to defend at all. I'm just putting everything I can into this swing. Mm-hmm. So the first attack is going to be with advantage, and that is going to be 17 plus 4 is 21. So that'll hit. And then I just bring the axe back around and try to swing again. That one is going to be a 15 plus 7 is 22. So I think both those hit.
Yeah, those both hit.
All right.
Yeah.
And 2 attacks are going to be, the first one does 14 points of damage, and the second one does 13 points of damage. So 27 points of damage as this magical axe soars through the air.
The second swing, you go at like torso level and swing through into the wall. When you hit the wall, half of a gold coin just kind of springs up. Just kind of clinks off your forehead.
That's useless now.
It's still made of gold.
No one takes half a gold coin. The amount of gold that it takes to make the gold coin isn't equal to the gold coin. Otherwise, it would be useless. This is not a fair trade.
That's exactly how gold coins are supposed to work, but we're not going to get into it right now.
Is that how gold coins are supposed to work? Okay, well, then maybe I'm wrong. Fine, it's half a gold coin. I have value. I'm still pissed off.
We'll have a whole conversation about how coins were supposed to work in the oldie days another time.
It does make sense, actually, now that I think about it. That it's just the value and happens to be shaped like a coin.
Yeah.
That does make a lot more sense, actually. Well, either way, I'm mad because I'm just a mad guy and he's being made a fool out of, and he continues to be mad. And
I'm a little scared. I somewhat underestimate taking you so not seriously now. And so the reckless attack leaves me with advantage on what? Particularly attacks or
on attacks against him. Yeah.
On attacks. Okay. And if I were to instead try to escape somewhere, would I again leave myself open to an attack here?
No. If you're just running away, you do not.
Yes. Okay.
Tell me what you want to do and I'll make it work.
I'd love to use the shadows to escape to the upper balcony in what would be the position that is as far as possible as I could be from the man who is who is threatening my ghost life right now.
Totally. Threatening your unlife. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought we were just having fun. You're not being very fun. I'd like to create some distance.
You're going to roll stealth at advantage, per usual. Aram, I think you're going to roll perception at disadvantage because of that same sort of blind rage, reckless. Like you are so focused on what is in front of you that you see nothing else.
Then my perception is going to be 5 + 5 is 10.
17 + 6, yeah.
You just evaporate.
23.
You press back into the wall. The light is coming from behind Aram, so you just fall into his shadow. And the last thing you see, Aram, is these bright red eyes just close. The moment you're hidden, Mick, you look up and you can see where the railing is casting a shadow in the top, like the ceiling on the second floor. Just...
So I see none of that. I just see him vanish into the wall, and Asubi went behind me again. So I turn around and I stride slowly into the middle of the room. I am directly beneath that wagon wheel chandelier right now.
I mean, that's his turn.
Yeah, I mean, it's so...
Sometimes you're sat up, man.
Yeah. I mean, that's exactly what... That's everything I've ever wanted in my entire ghost existence. Yeah, and having this ability to, manipulate the shadows, so on and so forth. If I could maybe snatch up a piece of broken glass through the shadows from below and use that to try and sever that rope holding up this chandelier. It's been up there a long time. I can't imagine it's in the best...
It's weakened.
Tensile strength, yeah.
Strictly speaking, if you wanted to do something like this mechanically, I mean, you could use your own attack to do it. You could use the nightshade thing to just basically laser beam the rope. But the way we're gonna narrate it is you look at him, look at where he is, fade back into the shadows, camera cuts down to behind the bar, and just out of a shadow at the bottom, just a hand comes up, grabs half a bottle, comes back down. And then you are sitting there on top of that thing.
As I'm creeping below.
Aram?
Yes.
How much attention are you paying?
Above me? Nothing.
I'm going to have you make a dex save at disadvantage. As you just start to look up, like, what the fuck is that? As you hear this thing sort of shaking above you.
All right, that is going to be a 3 + 2 is 5.
How high up do we think a second story ceiling is?
It's at least 20 feet, right? Maybe even 30 if it's one of those big open bars.
Yeah, let's say it's 30.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking to purchase it, so you'd have the dimensions, right?
Right, it's exactly 30 feet high. 32 and a half, actually.
So you're going to take 3d6 points of damage, which is going to come out to 13. And we get a full Wile E. Coyote because you finish cutting it, it snaps, and you're a ghost, so you just continue flying. And the thing just falls out from under you. Or you start looking up, and then it falls. There's the holy shit. You get out from under it. You're not like trapped or anything.
Sure.
As you dive, it cracks across the entire back half of your back. You're sprawled out on the ground, like you hit a chair as you fall and almost go under a table, and you see that smiling little motherfucker.
Now I look bloodied. Now I look pretty beat up. I got a big old knot in my head. My back is all, messed up. I'm dirty and bruised and looking unhappy.
It's your turn.
Oh, he's still in such a rage. Do I actually see the little bastard? Like, do I see him up in the ceiling snickering?
From my perspective, yeah, I would say that I found that so funny that there's zero caution being taken for right now.
You are seeing like the red eyes like open and close as he's cackling and then looking down at you, and giant fucking white, almost tombstone teeth. And then that tongue just occasionally popping out as it just looks down at you and just...
He's so far into rage right now. What I'd like him to do is sprint to the top of the stairs, leap over the banister, and just try to come down in the middle of the air with this axe. Like, he's just not even thinking about himself right now. He's just so enraged.
That's wildly stupid. I'll allow it.
Thank you. That attack is going to be a 10 plus 7 is 17.
That attack is going to be at disadvantage because you're making a flying leap off of a banister against something that can actually fly.
Second roll is a 12 plus 7 is 19.
All right, yeah. No, that's going to be a hit. Roll me some damage.
So this lunatic just sprints up the stairs, leaps off at you, all the hate of hell in his eyes, sinks his axe in as he goes soaring past and does a measly 8 points of damage.
Aram,
Yes.
you wanna roll me a dex save?
That is going to be a 10 plus 2 is 12.
Okay, so you're gonna take 15 points of falling damage.
Half damage, though. I am raging. And this is technically a blunt, so I take half of that.
You're gonna take 7 points of
That's like
falling
crash through
damage
the table.
as you swing, and that axe, you feel a little bit of resistance as you go, and you know you hit it. It has just enough material to seize on the axe.
And I smile for a second.
However, that little bit of like viscosity, I guess, catches the axe and holds your front half back, so you go straight horizontal for the rest of your fall.
Right, just straight on my back.
Just on top of the wagon wheel.
Oh. I'm looking hurt, but he's still in a rage, so he gets up and just, but he looks pretty beat up.
I see you're upset, and that was never my intent. I never wanted to upset you. I just wanted to have fun. So, using my cool ghost powers, I'm gonna kind of appear in front of you. Not right in front, but maybe like 5 to 10 feet, somewhere in that distance. And I'm gonna put out my stubby little ghost hand, reaching out to try and make things okay here. But Dylan, what I'd actually like to do is attempt to destiny bond.
All right, so Aram,
Yes.
you are going to make me a charisma saving throw.
Oh no. Oh, that's not my best. He's kind of a dick. That is going to be a 4 plus nothing. Is 4.
It's a low roll.
You fail in a grand and tremendous way. You look at this thing and you feel it reaching out to you. And you, the dim little son of a bitch you are,
It's giving up. Well, I'll accept that. I'll accept your surrender. And I put my hand out there. Sure, I'm that dumb. Yeah.
that is my question though, is are you that dumb or are you that angry? Because this Destiny Bond thing is just, it's not a charm effect or anything.
The fact that he didn't inflict damage this round, and if I don't, the rage goes away. So I would think in this gesture and with the abilities they just showed, maybe it clouds my mind for a moment, long enough for the anger to slip and for the arrogance to take over. And so, yes, he will shake his hand or arm or stub or whatever.
He shakes your hand, Mick.
Shaking my hand, upon doing so, a little shard of glass that I had used to cut the rope is still in there. And so as you tightly squeeze it,
you take 1 point of piercing damage. This is the ghost equivalent of the buzzer on the hand.
exactly what I was going for. Yeah.
You shake his hand and then it's just, motherfucker. If you would like to, at that point, still have your rage going, because the rules are you have to take damage or deal damage.
Right. At that point, then I would be able to continue the rage because I had a little hit of damage. Yeah, absolutely.
We will call, like, shaking someone's hand as a free action. 100%.
Sure. Okay, fair enough.
I think that's completely fair, given that I'm making you take a single point of damage.
We both agreed to do it. So it just kind of just extended the round as opposed to advancing it. Yeah.
So it's still your turn. You've used half your movement to get up.
And then I think that after that, he would just be like, son of a, and this one more time, go to swing that axe.
Okay. Give me an attack roll.
All right, that is going to be a 2 plus 7 is 9. That is going to miss wildly.
Just dances back away from you. The same goofy fucking laugh, the mouth wide open, little bouncing red eyes. Ha ha ha. Fucker.
Refresh me on this. How long is each round in terms of in-game time?
6 seconds. You've got 10 rounds worth of Destiny Bond.
Okay, cool.
I figure it's a lot longer than it is in Pokemon, but also you're only hitting one person in a party as opposed to the entire opposing team, so...
No, that's perfect, because, I just needed to know how I'm going to proceed based on that. After seeing you not only fall for my trick handshake, but also miss your attack, I'm kind of just doing a little bit of a dance where I'm jumping back and forth from my stubby legs, and then on a jump, I'll sink in one shadow of a table and then plop out another shadow of another table, and kind of going back and forth here.
Like a whack-a-mole. I'm just shattering tables as you're popping in and out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then eventually, ending at one of the shadows, landing on the ground, hoping I have your attention, and if I do, trying to look you in the eyes. Are you looking me in the eyes here?
Yes, directly into your eyes, all the rage in hell, not blinking, completely focused on you.
Wisdom save.
All right. All right. That is going to be 13 plus 2 is 15.
Beats it. Yeah. You feel the moment you lock eyes with this thing, you get pulled in. Like that red fills your entire vision and then just gives way to black. And the moment it starts to give way, the moment that pupil in the center of the red starts to expand out and start taking your vision, you realize what's going on and you pull back.
Shake his head, right? And then just, get even madder. So I'm going to go into frenzy. And now while I'm raging, I can choose to frenzy. I make a single melee attack as a bonus action on each of your turns. So now I'm attacking 3 times. And he just goes into like a whirling dervish of axes.
Okay, swing.
2 plus 7 is 9.
Okay.
3 plus 7 is 10. 5 plus 7 is 12.
It's a 15. You're very bad at this.
Oh, well then I missed everything.
Yeah. You were a whirling dervish of axes, except you're making horizontal slashes as he's still kind of like, the moment it stopped working, the whack-a-mole resumes.
I had all extra attack. I thought I was going to clip. Oh, so he's just smashed everything around him in a 10-foot like radius is now just splinters. The bar, the tables, the chairs. He's panting with his axe and he's hit nothing.
As you're attacking me with your axe and getting close but not hitting, I'm almost like in Dragon Ball Z, just leaning to the left, leaning to the right, and really taking the moment to look at the axe. And I think here is where it starts to hit me where that axe came from. And in a completely illogical and emotional and greedy instinct, I want it. So as you're swinging on your third miss, when you swing past me, I'm going to try to use that opportunity to actually take it.
So here's my problem. This would be an opposed strength, right? Like, this isn't sleight of hand. You're trying to take something away from him, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
I want to give you a chance at it.
me too. Yeah. Yeah. Especially because I swung three times. I clearly just overextended myself.
Here's what we're going to do. Here's the way I'm going to justify this to myself to give you better odds. Because I want to see this happen. I think it's a fucking cool move. I'm going to let you make this roll with charisma, where it's like you grab on and you pull, and Aram, you're going to resist with strength still.
Sure.
But it's just he pulls, and then the moment this thing starts trying to take your axe, you look up at it with that like little what the fuck, and you feel its eyes grab you again.
I still roll strength checks at advantage. So that is going to be a total, I am rolling like ass. That is 9 plus 6 is 15.
And I'm rolling with charisma. 3 plus 13. So 13 plus 3, 16.
Tie goes to the person who invoked it, right?
Yeah.
You
That
get my
goes to the
axe.
active party.
Damn it.
You grab this thing and you start pulling, and you don't have a fully corporeal body, let alone muscle. So when he starts pulling back, he's got it. And you just look up and you lock eyes with him and you shut down his hands. Normally that hypnosis effect is sort of a gentle, like it's a lulling effect. It's sort of bringing someone around so that they think that you're trustworthy. No, fuck that. You punch through his psyche, grab his brainstem, and basically tell him no. This axe, this old enchanted thing, it was used to slay a dragon once. That fact just rolls through your mind. It was used by a king. It was buried with him, left in a tomb. It's worth thousands, tens of thousands of gold if you found the right buyer. And all of this just comes back with the clarity of someone who has spoken the words before. This axe is. And the last words to run through your head are an artifact. You know this axe. This axe was your retirement plan. This was your way out. This was your entire life until it wasn't.
And now that it's in my hands and I know what it is, any inkling of mischievous ghost that was here is gone, and I'm mad. I go to attack you with it.
So it's a +5. It is an attack with strength. Sorry.
That's okay. So +5 -1, so +4.
No, so that's your total is going to be +5.
Oh, my total is +5.
+4
Okay.
proficiency, -1 strength, +2 because magic.
Gotcha. Okay. So 17 +5.
That definitely hits.
Ram, how many hit points did you have?
I only have 11 hit points left.
You're going to roll a d12 +2.
Oh no. I rolled a 12.
It's just directly into the chest, horizontal. It is a perfect mirror, as it's just this bright white shine of the last little, like, it's a single-headed axe, so it's the haft there. You embed it in, and there's just this row of gleaming white, and running down under him, in a perfect mirror of that tongue, is just a straight drip of red.
Falls dead. And then I assume a little while later rises as a little pissed off ghost ball.
And that's where we're going to call it.
Thank you for joining us for Gengar. For more information about us, notes for each episode, and ways you can help support the show, head over to killeverymonster.com.
If any of the ideas we've discussed on the show have sparked some of your own, tell us about it on Twitter at KEM Podcast. You'll find me at DJ Malenfant and Aram at Aram Vardian.
For ad-free episodes, early releases, bonus episodes, print-ready maps, our new audio DMs notes, and my character sheets for each encounter, head over to patreon.com/killeverymonster. You can also listen to ad-free episodes and bonus content by subscribing to the show on Apple Podcasts.
Our intro theme and many of the sound effects you hear in the show were created by BattleBards. Check them out at battlebards.com.
This episode was produced by Aram Vartian and Dylan Malenfant. I also did the editing. Our guest was Miki Lugjodovic, also known as Xwater. You can find him at twitch.tv/Xwater. And if you are anything like me and all of that information just fell right out of your head, you'll find everything you need at killeverymonster.com.
And we'll see you next time
for Kill Every Monster.
Monsters come in all shapes and sizes. They can come from anywhere, the dark corners of your hometown, a past meant to stay buried, and sometimes from within you. If you, like me, are intrigued by all the forms that monsters take, I think you'll enjoy Undertow. Hi, this is Fred Greenhalgh, creator and host of Undertow, a collection of horror podcasts that bring you under the surface and into the weird and the wicked. Each season, we start a new story set in a twisted version of the great state of Maine, where I grew up, fed by the headwaters of great horror masters like Stephen King and Rick Howdala. In Undertow, we'll be confronting ghosts from the past, battling werewolves in the present, wrangling with cursed artifacts, and through it all, doing our best not to forget our humanity. Undertow is available wherever you listen to podcasts or at realm.fm. Stay alert out there and enjoy your time in the Undertow.
This show was produced and edited by Dead Ghost Productions. Find out more about us and all the shows we make at deadghostpro.com.